Yes, once again, I am Richard Taylor, the author of Brushes with Death, soon to be available November the 26th. And as you guys know, I am doing video commentary on some of the places that the book was written and some of the experience that I had in Goldsboro. And right now, we're standing right on James Street, aka in that day was called the Block. It was pretty much the epicenter for drug activity during the mid-80s, the mid-90s, all the way probably to about the late 90s. And right here at this very spot, the building you're looking at was a gambling job-like pool hall slash, drug spot slash prostitution place slash anything. Pretty much anything that you wanted in Goldsboro, you can come pretty much to this area right here. If you wanted to prostitute, if you wanted crack, if you wanted, to gamble, if you wanted guns, you would come right here. This is the pool hall, one of the pool halls that is mentioned in the story. It was owned by Willie Simmons, the late Willie Simmons, who was sort of a mentor to me as far as gambling and learning the streets. He gave me a lot of advice, and he would take me aside and try to tell me things which I didn't listen to. But he was an old man, and he was he was a street man, and I owe a lot to learning some of the things about the streets from him. And I think I started frequenting this area maybe like when I was 15 or 16 years old. When I was when I was old enough to come out and hold my own against some of the older cats, and I learned a lot. If you look around, this area right here was pretty much full of trailers in the back. He would keep trailers around on that side where drug addicts could pretty much come and use with impunity, without fear of anyone bothering them. Also, there was a lot of different, actually that building that you see right there, that is actually that was a pool hall also. Another a great friend of mine, William Austin, had that pool hall. And actually it was more buildings all around. Actually they destroyed pretty much everything. Probably in the late 90s, early 2000s, they pretty much shut it down and stopped a lot of the activity. And at that point, that's when it moved over there to John and Pine. But this is basically the Block, and and actually that building right there, that used to be the Elks Club. A lot of people used to basically leave off the block from making their money and go straight to the club. The parking lot would be filled. Also, there were houses down the block, liquor houses. Around the corner, actually, one of that spot right there, that was one of the most famous spots. Also, Miss Lillian used to have a place right there that she would sell chicken and all types of food on the late night hours after the club. This area, it was just it was a free-for-all pretty much during those days. And actually the police office is only like maybe 2 blocks away, and it's just ironic that that type of activity can be centered so close to a police precinct and continue on for almost 2 decades. Even before my time, actually, I hear stories about the Block, all of the murders, all of the crime, all of the shootings, all of the guns, drugs. I mean, this is just, it's sort of legendary when you hear a lot of stories that we heard coming up, and it made you sort of gravitate to this area if you were considering a life of crime. So this is definitely a place where I spent countless amount of hours, like I said, in there gambling, or trying to sell a little peddle drugs. It wasn't really selling, it was pretty much peddling. People sold 20s, 40s, 50s, 100s, but the money would come sporadically. And you would also have users who you would send out and search the block and find people who were coming to buy. And so then when they saw them, they would bring them to you if you would pretty much give them a wake up, or what we call a lookout, pretty much just basically paying them for running around and getting you sales. And that's where the competition came in at. Everybody, you might have 20 people out here all with the same amount of drugs, or with different variations of drugs, but there was always some sort of a competition. that's where a lot of the conflicts came. When certain members will make more money than the others, then there was always some sort of retribution or dislike of that fact. So there are several stories that I can get into, but I won't because of legal purposes and not wanting to open up any old wounds to anyone. But definitely, this is one of the main spots. Like I said, this is Willie Simmons Pool Hall. A lot of these, and actually the whole maybe a 2-block radius from all the way from George Street to Center Street, all the way, and actually it filtered out to John Street as I did the piece by Ward's Package Store. Pretty much this whole area was pretty much an epicenter, and actually most of the customers who would come through were white. And anytime you saw someone that was coming up and they were white and they were riding and slowing down, you would actually run to the car. Pretty much, and in some instances you had to fight and elbow because there might be 5 people at the car with their hands out, showing their drugs and trying to get, I give you 2 for 20, and try to get the better deal. But this is definitely, I think it's the origin in some aspects of what's going on today in this style. As you see, it's pretty much desolate right now, but we have drug areas that pretty much have sprung up all over town in different areas, and it's not just one place anymore, as I'm sure it wasn't then. But like I said, this is the epicenter of a lot of those action and those ills that still affect society today. So I just wanted to come out here and get this part, because this area has definitely caused a lot of heartache for me, but it also has made me who I am today. And actually I use a lot of the savvy and a lot of the the business sense that I learned out here. I actually use that in the business world. A lot of times that people in the business world are actually more sinister or more unruly in their tactics than people on the streets. Actually, I sold real estate, and I see the tactics of loan officers and agents, and actually I got discouraged and said, I might as well be selling drugs the way the underhanded things they're doing. So it's definitely an origin of some of the things that I've learned and some of the things that I've been able to put into play positively and negatively. And so, in a lot of my classmates has experienced this area, and this is just one area that I did want to get on tape and get on camera, because as in the book, there is a few scenes that occurred on this block right here. So this is definitely one of the places that I wanted to get on camera, and I certainly thank you for taking the time once again to visit and venture out. Once again, www.brusselswithdef.org, where you can see more interviews and commentaries. Also more information is available about the book and its publication due to be published November the 26th. I certainly hope everyone will support that. But nevertheless, once again, I thank you for taking the time out to come and join and visit this place of importance in my life. Thank you once again.